This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, but the real star of today's show are you guys, my good friends, the pit crew, the people who hang out and talk sim racing each and every day, and we haven't been here all week, so today is an exciting day. Happy Friday to everybody. I was going to play that Friday Goofy song, but I have too much to talk about to take diversions on goofiness, because this has been a big week. It was E3, and I'm still not sure how I want to do today's show. I am going to have some videos coming out over the next day or two showing some things from E3. So you will get more from me on E3. Our group, there's really only one topic that everybody wants to talk about and hear about, and that is Assetto Corsa Competizione, which was there. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I did put out 2 videos. I wore a GoPro while I gave it a go. So before I even get down to business, again, happy Friday, everybody. Missed you guys. Hope you had a good week without me. I want to thank a few people before we even get started. Number one, I want to thank John Hill. John Hill endured hell of E3 with me. 2 different days that we went down. And I don't know how much of the story you guys want to hear. I mean, I don't mind telling you guys some details, and I kind of don't have a lot of news today. Today is sort of like a little recap on E3 conversation. But if you want to know my thoughts on E3 in general, let me know. And I'll go into it. I could almost turn this into one of Sean's rants if you really want to know the truth. But let me just give you an idea of what we're talking about here. So let's bring this down. And this is walking up to E3 Tuesday morning. And E3 is a very big deal. And we had a little trouble getting in. You want the thoughts? Rant coming? All right, screw it. It's Friday. Let's throw some gas on the fire. All right, so E3 has gotten huge. I've gone to E3 for like 10 different years, or over the last 10 years. I've gone there many, many times. And I've watched it go from nothing to something and back and forth again. And now it's bigger than ever, and it's huge. So this year, my overall impressions of E3 are, E3 was actually smaller than usual. If you really count up the amount of booths, the amount of games, the amount of things that were going on at E3, this was the smallest E3 in many years, in my opinion. Certain sections of the convention center weren't even being utilized that had been utilized in the past. Nintendo took up half of one of the main buildings, and there are only 2 main buildings. There was less at E3 than I'm accustomed to. And yet, not only, this was ridiculously crowded. It was so crowded. It was the busiest E3 I've ever been to, and it was just very light in general in terms of things. So, because it was so crowded, because it was so overbooked, oversold, which we'll get to in a moment, there's John Hill filming as I filmed the Fortnite booth, which was insane. It is quite a spectacle. So as I go on my rant, and I'm going to sound a little negative about E3, I will say up front that it is a spectacle. It is a big deal. So anyway, long story short, I had gone to apply as media for John Hill and myself. And I've gone out as media every single year without any trouble whatsoever. However, this year, they upped the requirements. Oh, we're ahead of ourselves. No, that's what we want to see. That's us walking through with Billy Strange, what I'll get back to. Anyway, long story short, when I was registering, I did notice that it required an average of 50,000 views per video in order to qualify as a YouTuber, online entertainment guy, and get media credentials. So I stopped the application because I don't have those kind of numbers. And to be honest with you, if you have 50,000 views per episode, that's television numbers. That's not even anyway. So I stopped it. Well, it was Hess at Next Level Racing who I got to meet. So here is Hess from Next Level Racing. Got to meet and talk to him for a long time, try out all their rigs. I'm going to come back to all of that. God, today's going to be a long show. Buckle up, guys. Anyway, Hess got us guest passes. And so when we went to do the guest pass, it wanted me to upload credentials because it saw my account name as my email. Anyway, long story short, sorry, I'm trying to wrap this up. there's massive confusion. We waited in a 3-hour line because the media, the guest services people had no clue. They're like, oh, go over there. And it was a mile-long line. We waited over in that line for a long-ass time. Then we had to go to another line in order to, because that didn't work. We went to the other one, and they're like, oh, well, we don't have you. And I'm like, no, we have guest passes. Anyway, we were there for 4 hours in the burning sun Monday and never got in, or Tuesday, and never got our passes. So Wednesday, we spent trying to work it out, and Thursday, we were able to finally get in there. And my rant is, it was the smallest E3 from a media perspective ever, and it was the most busy, most nightmarish, impossible ordeal to deal with ever. So that's my thoughts. They don't know how to run a show. They're successful despite their errors, flaws, and lack of anything. I mean, they're so pathetic. The group of run, I don't even care if they ban me. I don't care if I go to E3 again, to be honest with you. They've changed the show. It's not what it used to be. I used to go to E3 and walk up to the Forza booth, and there would be Dan Grenewalt and Alan Hartman waiting for guys like me to come in and talk to them. They know who I am by face, by name. I walk up and they shake my hands. They're excited to see me. They're not going to be seen on the show floor now. Why? Because there's a billion 17-year-old gamers. And no offense to 17-year-old gamers, but this is a trade show. But they've turned it into a marketing blitz. So, no, I was a guest of Next Level Racing, the man. So, all right, should I do news and then come back to E3? Or do you guys want to go with E3 and then just blow through the news real quick? I'm tempted to do the news and then come back to E3. Let's do that. It's my show. You guys run it, but it's my show. So, and most of what we're going to talk about is E3 related in some way, shape, or form, or a lot of. Yeah, Stu, it is. Everything's gotten so big and out of control that it doesn't matter. They don't care if they piss people off because they are successful by their one measure, which is money. And they sold 1 billion tickets at $1,000 a piece, by the way, to get a gamer pass. $1,000, and there was a mile-long line. No, though, man, that's not at E3. You pick up your own credentials. If you're actually there, an exhibitor with their booth, they do it that way. But once it's open, those tickets are slightly different. So, in the end, they had to go take care of it from the inside for me. But anyway, thank you very much for getting us in there, Hess, and Next Level Racing, and Brendan jumped through some hurdles. Brendan of Next Level jumped through some hurdles just to get us in there, so make sure it did work out. It just, wasting a whole day down there, and I was going to spend 3 days, and I had to turn it into one. But, and that's my other rant. I hate to say it, but sim racing is so tiny. FU805. Sim racing is so tiny. So, here's another thing that it really bothers me about going to E3. I go to E3, and there's billions of dollars being spent. You saw the booth. Let's pull up that Fortnite booth again. It was insane. Where is it? I can't see my footage very well here. Bear with me. I'm so sorry. That was the walking video, wasn't it? This one? No, but you can see this booth. This is Sony PlayStation. Look at this video presentation they have that's like 50 yards long. People everywhere, lines like you're on a roller coaster, doing, waiting an hour just to get your little trial of whatever game. But see, the problem is, you look at all this footage, and look at all this money, and sim racing is like 1% of the whole thing. There's Billy Strange. That's Billy Strange. So, all right, I'm going to stick with my E3. We'll finish with news. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm so out of practice. 3 days off, and I don't know how to run a show. But I guess today kind of became like my E3 recap and talking about it. But I know we want to talk about Assetto Corsa. But what's depressing is you walk through here and, there's no sim racing. This whole thing, and there were only 3 booths that were actually sim racing. And that depresses me. That really does. It's a shame. Even when Forza's there, it's not a big deal. And one more thing I'll just show you in general, and then we'll talk about Assetto Corsa. But this was the big deal, was the McLaren Senna being, this is actually at the mixer booth, not at Forza, but they are using Forza 4 in their presentation. So we got a little footage. I didn't, without the VIPs of Forza being there, I can't really bypass the line. And I'm not going to wait in line for a long time to play Forza Horizon, which does look very cool, by the way. I'm rather impressed. It looks very gamey, of course, but, it's got the kind of stuff that you want to see from that type of title. This jump is cool. I like the way it flashes. Oh, it wasn't that jump. It's a different jump where it flashes into more of a cinematography type camera angle. Oh, no doubt, Nick. It was not a tall crowd. John Hill was the tall one of the group, that's for sure. All right. So, real quick, let me blow through news, and then let's come back to E3, because I want to talk about that. And I don't really care about today's news. We'll go back to news on Monday. This week, it's really about E3. So, Forza has a bunch of things teasing Horizon, things you're going to get. So, coming off of E3, when you have launch titles that are coming out kind of soon after E3, and they're using this as their, big build-up for the sale of the game. Here's the specials, so depending on the experience that you're going to want, Standard, Deluxe, Ultimate Edition. That's something else. Their road course series, they had a live stream from E3, shots of the car, blah blah. New levels. What would they call this one? This was pretty funny. Beauty of Britain. Oh wait, I saw a different title on that one that I liked. But anyway, so there's a lot of stuff about E3 at those type of titles. So Project Cars 2, they're talking about the Renault results. So if you want to see how things are going in the eSport qualifiers for the Renault eSport competition on Project Cars, you can check that out. So I believe that would be this one. No, live finale. Wait, where are the qualifying round? Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. 2. This is the one we'd be talking about if I'm not mistaken. 3 hasn't wait, there's 3 already. Sorry, guys. It's Friday. I've been away. We're all over the place. But there are the results for that, and that's one I haven't had a chance to really follow that much. F1, I couldn't find them in the building. They might have been there, but again, I had to rush through this, and I spent some really good time with Competizione, Thrustmaster, and Next Level. But they did have their one of their developer guys on a show. So this was a stream done from E3 that was done on Twitch. And it's talking to, what was his name? Lee. Sorry about that. Lee Mather. And he's there at E3 on Square Enix's feed. So he's talking about the new version of F1 2018. Again, that's more E3 news, even though it wasn't a big booth at the show or anything like that. Race Room. This is the one. This is the one I want to go after. I'm going to spend some time this weekend. I'm forewarning you guys. So this weekend, I'm going to do some Mercedes AMG Motorsport e-racing competition. See where I can get on this leaderboard, which at this point says it has 3,246 drivers. So that gives us a huge range to go after and attack. It's not going to be hard to be up in that upper half when you have 3,200. So, anything. There's an old rule of racing: as long as I'm not last, right? As long as I'm not last. Well, with 3,246 people, you're not going to be last. You get in that upper half on a competitive bracket, and that's even pretty good. So I am challenging you guys right now. If you have Race Room and the Mercedes EMG, it's their museum special, and I am going to be doing this. I'd love to compare notes on Monday and see how you did against me. You'll see our names. You know each other's names at this point. And, hey, Billy Strange on the road home. It was so cool meeting Billy. Assetto Corsa, obviously at their Twitter feed, they're talking about showing off E3. Same thing for them. They were there. Didn't get a chance to meet them. The problem with getting there Wednesday is the guys at Assetto Corsa had already left the building. So there's a shot of the 3 rigs on the floor. And then they had the rig up on the stage, which was a motion platform, a VRX. So the 3 static rigs on the floor were Sparco rigs, fully equipped with Thrustmaster gear, because this is at the beautiful Thrustmaster booth. They did a great job with their booth, by the way. And then Billy Strange up on stage, and everybody was getting a chance to drive. There's a great shot of Billy up on the stage, announcing the main competition and the big rig up on the platform. Leaderboard competition going on. Anyway, so cool stuff there. They had some live feeds, and they have some video, and again, that's part of E3. And, you know, when I go to the E3 Tuesday morning, if you're at the Twitter feeds or Facebook pages of the companies that are going to be there, you're going to basically get to see and experience everything that anybody going to E3 would, because they pretty much released the whole thing. I've seen this all over. Roland, was yours I didn't get a chance. I've been away all week. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I'm going to talk about that next, I believe, if we're talking the endurance mod. Anyway, this is iRacing, and this is the Peacock Antifreeze series, and this is coming to the line, or basically the finish of the race. Ryan Lusa in the back there, doing a little moving the leader out of the way. No crash. Oh, that bump was a little more, but that was kind of after the fact. Ryan Lusa going on for the win. So, even in the post from iRacing, and it's kind of hard to get iRacing to say something like the word controversial. Think about it. They don't want to say that word. Because that means they had to make a judgment call, which means they could have got it right, they could have got it wrong. I see that they did give him and award him the win. Controversial. Yeah, but do I need... and you could say what you want about iRacing, but do I not see exactly that in real NASCAR every single week? Is that not exactly how it's done? Where's that line? But I watch it, and as long as iRacing... Forget iRacing. As long as Max didn't have a problem getting... As long as NASCAR condones that, well, then of course iRacing should. But is that pushing it too far? That's a move that they learned how to do 10 years ago. Maybe even older than that. Just a little nudge, going into a corner, give him a little wiggle, he moves up the track, you take the low line. And I'm not trying to point out Ryan Lusa, by the way, because, again, this is what I see on NASCAR every single week. In my opinion, that's how it's done. But not nice. Not nice. All right, RFactor 2. So today is a big day, the endurance pack for RFactor 2. Is this the promo? Is this your work? If it is, it's a beauty. I did see it. So, RFactor 2 just continues to get better and better and better. I know when we bring up sims and talk good or bad, we get our camps, we get our fan favorites, we get our trash talking. But my opinion really is that RFactor 1 was a good sim out of the gates, and it became a great, and I do mean great, sim. Same thing it's looking like is the RFactor 2 is the same thing. It came out good, and it's getting great. Here's the thing about it, though. This time, it's mostly in-house work that's making it great versus the first-gen RFactor 1. Honestly, it was really the modding community that made it great. ISI and 397, they are making RFactor 2 great. I'm looking forward to giving that a try. Another variation of the Porsche RSR to give a shot and see what it feels like, drives like, compares to others. Maybe I'll get a chance to do some of that today. I'm so far behind. I'm further behind than ever right now, which kills me. You'll find that at the RFactor 2 Twitter page, and you can check out that mod on... Oh, look, I have another version of it here. I have 2 times. And you can check that out on Steam as well. Crew 2 is going to have another open beta coming June 21st through 24th. Preload the beta now, so if you're interested, I don't know all the details, but for those who've been following the game, they know more about it than I do. But the crew gets nearer, and, they already did this, and they recognize some flaws, so it'll be interesting to see how they've improved between open betas. Thrustmaster, obviously, they're talking about the booth. Well, they don't have a whole lot there, do they? They were showing off their flight gear. You know, we sim racers, we forget that another part of Thrustmaster's library portfolio of components is they're also known for flight gear, and they make some great equipment. I've used Thrustmaster. I've used the HOTUS flight stick a billion times. Anyway, these are the new pedals, which are insanely awesome. It led to my rant last week about where are our pedals, Thrustmaster. But showing off their booth at E3, including Billy there up on stage. Derek Spear, we talked about that Blue 32 controller. That was going to be the Bluetooth controller coming from Derek Spear. So on their Twitter page, they show a video, and it's actually the configuration utility overview. So if you want a little insight on what you can and can't do and how to set up that new controller, that is now available for you, the DIY guys who like building your own controllers. This could be a great one for you. In addition to that, they have an overview video of the assembly, the most brief assembly overview video of the Derek Spear design chassis soon to be released. We talked about that last week. Almost to the end of the news, and then we can go back to E3. So, today, or actually yesterday was the day, Wreckfest is out in its final version. In its, actual version, I guess we can call it. It has been early access for 4 years, I do believe, and it is now considered an official title. There is an update and some changes and things with it. I understand it's pretty substantial. Something else I have to check out today. I have to get my career mode underway because, now, this is pending my ability to get a server up and running on the new version of Wreckfest. I don't know if the changes will have disabled the way we've done it. I'm going to have to try that out. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., we are going to do Wreckfest. It is time to bang some fenders. I can't believe we don't get... I'm happy with the turnout in the game room, but I'm really surprised more people aren't entertained by those streams, because they are my favorite still. So it's one of those things that I do Wreckfest events for us. I do Wreckfest streams for us. And if anyone else watches it, that's great. If they don't, we have a lot of other cool content. So, we're going to go to that right now, Andreas. Right now, we're going to finish up with that. So, tonight is the final race of the season in the Simpit Porsche RSR series. And, it is going to be a little sad to see that car go. Let me bring up an image here. I kind of forgot. Bear with me one moment. Where is she? Here she is. Now this is next season's car. That's my paint job. Thank you, Stan Donnet, for another incredible paint job. But next season we are running the Corvette C7R. And that is going to be a badass season, I promise you. And we start that up next week, so no off time in SRS. But tonight is the final race at Road America. And I do believe, I'm not going to officially name it, just to make sure, but I do believe Heiko Sherman is going to be our champion. Tonight we'll make it official. I believe the points are in his favor. I don't think Ricardo can better him by enough to gain the 2 points he would need to overcome him. But I'm not going to make it official until tomorrow. Tom Jones, thank you so much. And I'm sure Michael and Randy appreciated it a ton as well. Thank you very much, Tom. Much, much appreciated. But congratulations to Heiko. Ricardo, looks like you're going to be a second. Stan Donnet, painter extraordinaire, in third. Joa Antonio, as of now, is in fourth. But tonight could play a role in some of these standings still. So I think we do still have a fight out there. And we will see how that all plays out tonight. That'll be at 6 p.m. I have not turned a single lap. I'm in big trouble for tonight. But I do want to race. So that is going to happen as well. And again, next season, Corvette C7R starting up next week. And please schedule a round for Euro time in SRS. John, the problem with that is that there are a ton of other series on sim racing systems. So Henrik has been trying to create series for certain, there's no shortage of those. We just don't have one. But we did get a Euro time slot for Race Room, but I don't know if we can administer even. I mean, the thing for me is that I just don't have enough time to administer another league, to be honest with you. Take third. So Stan will be in third if Joa does not finish the race. Yeah, I'm not sure, Gas, about last night's racing, because I heard some things, but I wasn't really here. I was here, but I wasn't here. Yeah, it's a great-looking car. So, all right, you guys. Let's go back to E3. Okay, so first things first, let's kind of go through my day and what I got a chance to do. I was there with... Hey, that's not E3. What am I doing? I was there as a guest of Next Level Racing, as you know. So I got to talk to Hess, the owner of... That's Brendan in the background back there, the one who helped us get in. They were great. And got a real good chance to check out Next Level Racing. I got a chance to drive their rig. And this, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm actually testing the Next Level Racing motion platform right now. Their new rig is built to accommodate that perfectly. And their new rig is something that we're going to be getting in for a review as well. And just to give you a little teaser on what it looks like. But, you know, here's some footage. And this is really raw. This is just straight off my camera. But completely new design. This is the first real rig from Next Level that is for a serious sim racer. Their previous rigs have been all really easy, adaptable for somebody who kind of wants to play and do things and even put it away. And this rig here is solid, it's robust, it's highly adjustable, it's sturdy, and it was actually quite a pleasure to drive with their motion sim. Got a chance to try out the Thrustmaster handbrake. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. So yeah, that was the beginning of the day. It was really hanging out with the guys at Next Level. There's John Hill giving it a run as well. And they just had a cool challenge there on Project Cars 2. And it was good fun. They had this one matching the simulator. So you'd see people like couples. And the guy would drive and the girl would sit shotgun kind of thing. So, whoops. I didn't want to go back to that. I almost want to make a little switch here and do this. This would be cooler. Well, no, it doesn't matter. Sorry. Bear with me. It's Friday and I've been away. I'm out of practice. So, what else? From there, we really, and I'll be showing you more. I'm going to do videos with more content, so you'll get a chance to see more. This is their, F1 GT. The other one's called the GT Track model, by the way. And this is the F1 GT Formula model, which has been improved from the one that I tried out last year. No, there was less VR at the show in sim racing. There was no VR. VR is kind of a pain in the ass at trade shows, to be honest with you, though. Logan Harris, he was giving me a hand. There's Logan. There's Brendan in the background. So, okay, what else? What else did we get a chance to do at E3? And then we'll move to, obviously, and again, I'll show you more on that. Craziness. So this is the Fortnite booth. You can see Thrustmaster in the background back there. They literally had a... Oh, yeah. So it is a crazy event, and even though I did have my rant and talked in a bitter fashion about it, I mean, don't misunderstand the fact that it isn't overwhelming. It is amazing. It'll blow your mind. And, it is fun once you get in there, but it is really, really crowded. So, from there, we moved on to the Thrustmaster booth. And here we have Billy Strange. So, right there, Billy Strange announcing the big competition. You see this guy, he's turning a lap at Spa in a Ferrari on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Whoops, sorry about that. Again, this is unedited footage. This is just straight off the camera. Excuse me. But here they are giving a real good shot. Here he is at nighttime. Good shot of the nighttime in Assetto. And they were really, there were prizes at stake. They had a whole leaderboard. And down there you can see the static rigs with guys making what we're calling qualifying runs to get up on the stage. And all these guys we're looking at are all kind of waiting. They're just sitting here waiting on getting in, their shot at the big rig and getting up on the leaderboard. I did get a chance to drive as well, and I apologize to John Hill. Someone asked earlier, I think Stu asked, did John Hill get a chance? There's Josh Martin of Thrustmaster. Here's me getting ready to do some driving, because I'm going to put a GoPro on my head like a total dork. There's David Greco right there. You can see David Greco behind Josh with the beard. Sim racing extraordinaire. David Greco is one of the fastest guys on the planet. I got a chance to hang out with him, and I've met David a couple of times. Then I did finally get a chance. So you get in, and at first you're at Monza in the wet. So this is driving in the wet. And I'll say, so let's talk Assetto. What did I get to feel? What did I get to drive? First things first, keep in mind, when you're at a trade show doing a demo, this is being done for the masses. This isn't being done for hardcore sim racers. This isn't even being done for casual sim racers. So damage is turned off. It's a controlled, here's the car, here's the track, here's the scenario we want you to run. The conditions are very restricted. Oh, overshooting turn 1. Why? Because in the water, in the wet, the braking zones were different. Thank you, Andreas. That is a shirt that I only wear when I'm on location. I don't wear it around here very much. But yeah, driving in the wet, you noticed a difference. There was a good amount of slipperiness, but it wasn't just ridiculously. I know. See what I'm willing to do? I'm willing to look wonky for you guys, you know. But yeah, you get in. The other thing is, even though you're in headphones, that place is so loud. It's like you're not in the audio you want. You have a lot of visual distraction. You have this controlled environment, but in the water, in the wet, braking zones were much deeper. In the wet, it was slipperier and a little harder to handle, and the lap times were slower, but it wasn't impossible. And I think about these cars and modern rain tires, and it's like, you know what? I've watched those races, and these guys can drive in these conditions really fast, but not as fast as when they're dry. So I did get a chance. I'm not sure if we get to the dry here. I know I have GoPro footage. I did put up both of the GoPro videos, so you can already see them. And here's more Billy Strange announcing the next guy up on the big platform, giving it a run. And then I got my shot. So now here's me on my run, giving it a go. No warm-up, 5-minute run. What can you do? And again, 3 days into a trade show, I've done enough trade shows to know the guys who like and love sim racing, they show up and they will run it. They'll run it 5, 10, 15 times over the course of beatboxing over the course of days. So the leaderboard gets pretty locked in towards the end of the show. So I'm coming in late. And I'm not sure what we have. I think this is coming to the end of my second lap. I dealt with AI. I was supposed to let the AI go a lot further. K-Dog, I'll finish with that. I'll just make it real clear. I'll stop playing videos and I'll move on to just that. But I believe this is where I posted my best lap. And that put me 6th on the board on my second lap. So congratulations to me. I made myself proud. And, you know, there is, and I don't know if you see, these are the new Thrustmaster headphones that are coming, by the way. Something we could have forgotten entirely about. But no pressure. You know, when I get to a booth like this, what happens is they basically red carpeted me right into this rig. And I cut off that line of guys waiting. And it's like, here you go. Nobody know, you know, some of the people, actually one guy did, and if you watch my GoPro video, you can see, I don't have it here, but it is up on our channel. You can actually see me go over and say hi to this guy who knew who I was. But I had to step in front of all these people, jump into that rig, and perform. And, how embarrassing would it be if they rolled out the red carpet and you're just a spinning nightmare in the car? But I step up, and the guy who I shook hands with was actually, I believe, in 6th on the board. And I stepped up and bettered him by that much. But I performed, and I'm very happy about that because it would have been very embarrassing had it been different. So I'll let this continue to play as I tell you my final thoughts on what I could see in a limited demonstration of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Let's start with graphics. The graphics are hugely improved. When I think of different sims, I can tell the difference between Project Cars, iRacing, and Assetto Corsa instantly by the color palette. What is their perception of red or blue or green? And I can tell the palette used by each company, that saturation, whatever you want to call it. Oh, getting bumped. Oh, I got hit by the AI there. No, I didn't see really well, but I had already posted my good lap. I could do no harm at that point. I think it's more fun to watch me in game mode, though. So why don't we go back to game face? Anyway, so the colors were amazing, and it was definitely Assetto Corsa, but there was this vibrance, there was this life. When I play Assetto Corsa, the shadows are cool, but there's something missing, making it feel like I'm there on a real day. I feel like I'm there on this, picture day. They took a picture, and that's what I play, versus is it being real, with more active lighting, better shading, more depth to the image. It gives it a vibrance in the graphics that immediately make it feel more real. And that is a big step forward for Assetto Corsa for me. That's just straight graphics. Then you bring in the wet effects. You saw that video of wet effects. Should we go back to that real quick? The wet effects were really, really good. And because of that, it was another layer of graphics that were outstanding. Look at the way the water is beating outside the range of the windshield wiper. Look at the way the sprinkles are forming on the windshield. Look at the driving line and the shimmer on the wet track. This is all part of the graphics as well. The graphics were hugely different, hugely better. The sound, maybe a slight improvement, but on only 2 different cars. This was the Nissan GTR and the Ferrari. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, the graphics were noticeable and right out of the gate, wow. The sounds were, they're great. Okay, now let's talk about physics. The physics were hard to judge. Again, I don't know what settings. I don't know how much traction control. I don't know how many driving aids. I don't know what game mode it was in. It's hard to judge. And then the other is 5 minutes on this one, 5 minutes on that one, on a rig I don't own, on a wheel that I don't use every day. It's hard to really know physics in a 10-minute trial, to be totally honest with you. But there were certain things I could tell. When I play Assetto Corsa, even though it's one of my favorite sims, I noticed that the car always feels like it's kind of pinned in the middle to the ground, and it doesn't quite roll like I think or expect, and it doesn't quite pivot like I expect. There might be an improvement in that, but I don't want to be held to that. This could be placebo effect. That's the other thing that happens. You come in and you're like, wow, wet track. Wow, it's cool graphics. It's placebo effect happens, and it's very easy to be overly impressed. So I don't want to do that, and I don't really want to talk about physics because, again, I don't know, and it wouldn't be right or fair to say. I can tell you it doesn't feel like they're wrong or bad. It's not like, oh, wow, they turned it into an arcade game. Enjoy. No. But just being fair, that's where we are on that. It was really fun. It was really cool. I'm excited about the concept of Competizione in that. One thing I do love about F1 2017, 18, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, is that it gives you that real series. So you can say what you want about the quality sim, but for the fans, the people who want a quality, put it in a box, put a bow on it, complete series so I can emulate what I watch on the weekend, that's what they're doing. You just take Assetto Corsa, give it some improvements, give it that modularness of a perfect series, and I'm a pretty happy guy. So I am very optimistic, and I do think it's going to be a big deal. And I've also given thought to the whole game. If you're like, well, maybe it's light on content. But again, this is something that you're going to buy. I don't know. See, the thing about the menus even, Jamie, menus you can't judge either, because I know that it's easy to create a shell and create a demo. So this is a total demo menu built for E3 that we're looking at right here. If you look up, you'll see a little E3 logo even on it. So it was a very simplified menu system. This is not what the menu of the game would look like. But what I could see, the physics engine went from 16 to 32-bit. And yeah, and I think you might have been able to feel it again. I felt like the car was more lively. Like there was just a little more action and rotation, and it felt more natural than what I felt in Assetto. But again, I don't want to be held to that. You can hold me to the graphics. I don't know the specs on what it's going to take to deliver those graphics. They can bring supercomputers to a show. It might not even be to that point yet, because they might still be doing more optimizations and things. We know it's on the Unreal 4 engine. Many people have played other games or sims on the Unreal engine, and so there might be settings out there that already know how to optimize that when it comes. Anyway, it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was great getting to meet Josh Martin, David Greco, Billy Strange, Hess, Brendan, and everybody at Next Level. Overall, I had fun. It was just a nightmare getting there, a nightmare doing it. There were exciting things, like, Nintendo again took over half of a building practically. This booth was it was a city block. It was insane. And anyway, forgive my just walking around. There's Sony on the opposite side with their city block taking up pretty much the other half of the building. There's like 1 or 2 rows beyond these 2 booths on their own. Booths. But it is, this is at the end of day 3 where, this wasn't even the crowded. Also got a chance to hang out with Robert Stanners of VRX. And I'll congratulate VRX, because they were in 5 different booths by my count. Let's see. They were in the V-Rally booth, which I did not take the time to drive. But here's V-Rally. You guys are getting this is like my recap. I'm going to do a more official recap video. But there's a VRX sim. They were in the Forza booth. That's a VRX sim. I don't have shots of, but I heard they were in the Samsung booth. That's 3. And then they were up on the stage at Thrustmaster. That's 4. And where was the 5th one? Oh, and then they had 2 in the Microsoft Arena, which I didn't get a chance to go to because it wasn't at E3 this year. But there you go. That is pretty much my thoughts on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Really quickly, as I bring things to a close, if you guys have any questions that I didn't cover, I will be doing some recap videos on it. So, well, it won't be much, because actually you've seen most of the footage already. So, I do have some better shots. I'll put something together on the Next Level GT track, that new rig. I have some cool shots, and we're going to get one here in the shot. It'll be a first look of that coming out in the next 48 hours, let's say. And that is pretty much going to do it for today's show. Happy. John, yes, there were a lot of girls there. There were not booth babes this year. That was sort of really, really downsized. You can say what you want about that. Oh, here was a cool shot. This is some VR. Here's your VR. Nick, are you here watching? Nick, you would love this. How's that? How cool would that little GAT be for you? There you are. Nick, that's for you, buddy. But yeah, no, there were not a lot of girls there. Well, she was there. Look at we. Ooh wee. At the V-Rally booth. Anyway, it was fun. In the end, I had a really good time. The feeling was good. Jumaru. The feeling was overall good, but I didn't get a chance to really drive it in my conditions. And that's the one thing that is also a little unfortunate about E3. There's a good shot of the back of John. That's not a very fun clip. Sorry. Another shot of the McLaren for you. But it's just really hard to judge a sim in 10 minutes. You know, essentially 3 laps, 2 cars, 2 tracks. That's the opportunity you get for testing the game. And it's in a demo state made for the general public. You know, when you see these videos of us walking around or this, these are all gamers. These are all general public gamers, not sim racers. And you can't bring a sim in sim mode without frustrating people. And if you want to sell games, you do not do it by frustrating people. I guess you're getting an idea of the count of women. Maybe there weren't that many women there. Yeah, I saw 3, 4. Oh, you know where the women were? The women were the ones in the booths. The ones working the booths were like 70% women, 30% men, and the gamers were like 85% men, 90% men, 10%. $1,000 bought you a ticket to this. I'm gonna go 90%, 95% men, 5% women. There's a bunch of women there. There was 3 walking. Gives you a little perspective on what it's like to really be at E3. Sorry for my... Okay, this shows you about how crowded it actually felt. The lines were ridiculous. People were waiting in lines for, again, 1, 2, 3 hours to play various different games, just for a demo-sized feel of various different games. Sorry for the raw footage here. But it's crazy. It's awesome. But my final thoughts on E3, it was fun. I'm glad I went. But it was more of a nightmare than ever before. It was the smallest amount of booths or things to see ever. And the most crowded it's ever been by the wrong kind of people for me to do it or call it or treat it like a trade show. It's become Comic-Con. It's become... excuse me. It's become... excuse me. It's become a marketing media blitz, not a trade show. And that does change what you get out of it. So anyway, that is going to do it. Long show, 48 minutes, but I did have a lot to talk about today. Last time, it was one more time, I just want to say it was a real pleasure getting to meet Billy Strange. It was great to see and hang out with David Greco and Hess from Next Level and David Greco from Thrustmaster. That is one cool thing about E3 is running into the people that you do see year after year after year. And overall, I'm glad we got down there and got to do it. There's John Hill, and of course, I thanked you. I don't know if you were here earlier, but again, I want to thank John Hill because not only did he go with me, and that was a lot of fun, but he dealt with Tuesday, which was hell, and he came back for more on Thursday. So thank you very much, John, for doing that, and it made it a lot more fun than going solo, that's for sure. So that is going to do it for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back. I have a lot of things to do today. Some of it might be live. I can't guarantee anything. We should be back at 6 p.m. for that race if I can get some warm-up and practice laps. I've been called into action on that race, so we'll see. And then tomorrow morning, pending getting the new version of RecFest up and running, we're going to do RecFest with Frenemies at 10 a.m. So hopefully you'll join us for that, hopefully on track. And if not, you'll want to watch that stream because it'll be the newest version of RecFest and some great drivers going at it, which is really cool. So anyway, hope you had fun with this show. Happy Friday. I know the show is completely different and all out of whack. Hopefully it was at least fun. I had a good time doing it. And you guys all have a great weekend. Get out there and do that Race Room Mercedes Museum Challenge. I'm going to do that over the weekend. So compare notes on Monday with me. Have a great weekend. Get out there and race. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.